Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Oral Exposure. Now, on tonight's episode, even though it is too late, thank you for everyone who's watching, we're going to talk about a story of a couple who stole millions of dollars from COVID relief funds and then abandoned their 3 kids and ran away. So who are these guys? How do they steal millions of dollars from COVID relief funds? Can you do this? The answer is no. But what's their background? Like, what happened? Today we're gonna cover that little bit of story. So number one, let's have a look at these people. Like, who are they? What do they look like? Mr. and Mrs. Smith, some kind of bank robbers? But no, not really. They look like sort of normal people, at least in this one. I guess the lady has a potential to be the next top model, much like that guy years ago who got famous for his mugshot and now is touring the world doing runway shows, but it looks like, yeah, there is some ordinary people. But how do these ordinary people steal some money? Who are they? Well, I actually did a little bit of digging online. So it turns out the guy's name is Richard, the girl's name is Marietta, and their last name is very hard to pronounce. I think it's Avazon. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but since you stole millions from COVID relief funds, I don't feel as bad. So they're 43 and 37-year-old, and it looks like they lived in California, which is the state that I live in. And the city they were residing is in Chino. Now, these couple have 3 kids. They're now aged 13, 15, 16, but when they were caught and when they ran away, these kids were about 1 year younger, since this whole thing happened in about 2020 or so. Now, their background is super vague, but because I have years of experience digging around online and just stalking people on social media, I was able to find some information on these guys. Now, the guy Richard, he is somewhat of an entrepreneur, and he went to North Hollywood Valley College, which I don't know if there are any alumni from there, but hey, one of your guys has made it to the big leagues. Now, he majored in business administration, so he is pretty good, and he graduated around 1999. Now, he was about 21 at this time, and he thought, why not let's get into something that makes some real good money, aka real estate. So he got in real estate, and at the ripe old age of 21, he maxed out his credit card with no savings at all, bought his first ever property. Now, to a guy like me who bought his first property at the age of 28, this seems very, very impressive. Now, granted, he did borrow a lot of money, max out his credit card, no savings at all. It's very, very risky, but taking that first step, very, very big balls. Good for you, sir. And he spent more money, he took out more credit cards, and he renovated the whole place thinking to flip it over. Now, in 1999, houses weren't like today. If you're something in California, now if you buy a house, you'll have to spend somewhere north of $400,000 to get a good one. But back then, he bought a very nice house for $139,000. Now, this price is making my mouth water. And 4 years later, after renovations, after maxing out his credit cards, taking on a lot of debt, he was able to sell this house for about $700,000. So think about that. At the age of 21, you buy a house for $139K, and then at the age of 25, you sell for $700,000. Now, 24 is about 4 years younger than I am now, and I do not have $700,000. So first of all, props for this 21, 25-year-old kid who just did this great thing flipping real estate. Respect to this guy. But he made some money, and he got a taste for it. But unfortunately, what he got a taste for was making a lot of money at very high risks. It's almost like gambling in a casino, and it has a huge payoff. Took 4 years, but payoff it did. And at the ripe old age of 23, before he sold this house, flipped for profit, he thought, well, real estate is a very lucrative business, so why not let's get our real estate license? And he did, took the test, passed it, and he started meeting people. Now, around this time, he was able to meet people who flipped houses, so suffice it to say, he got some very good contacts, and they got him into some pretty sweet deals. So this guy, this Richard, or as he liked to call himself, Rich, was rolling in dough before he was 30 years old. Very awesome. Now, with these connections and his years of experience in real estate, he thought, hey, why not let's make a company? So our guy Richard here made a company called Inception Venture. Now, Inception, we all know, is a movie that we love. Maybe we don't understand it that much, but if you want anything that sounds really, really awesome, name your company Inception. That's a lesson we learned here from Richard. So now let's have a look at this website, because I did want to do a little research and see exactly what he's selling. What is this website about? If you go online, you can find almost nothing about it, but I was able to find their webpage, and this is what it looks like. So if you go on Google, type in Inception Fund or InceptionVentures.com, you should show up with this. Now, when you click in, the first thing you notice is that it's all black. Oh, it's very, very bold. It's a design that tells you they mean business. And on top, 3 big words: fueled by dreams. Ah, Inception, fueled by dreams. I see what they're doing here. But what exactly are you fueling with these dreams? What are you selling? What am I buying here? So let's look at the finer print. Now it says, we're Inception, a boutique venture, excited about disruptive early stage opportunities. Okay, that's very smart, I like it. We take a people first approach. Very nice, they're people central, that's how companies should be. In our current technological landscape, ideas are nothing without execution. We sell brick and mortar businesses to million-dollar enterprises. This is our passion. Very nice. I feel like for a company logo, for a company model, that is what grabs a lot of people's attention. But next it says, to inquire, please fill out the form below, thank you. And there's places for you to tell them your name, your email address, and have a message for them. And there's literally nothing else on this website. That is it. That is all the information that you get from this website. It doesn't have a contact us. It doesn't have our addresses, where the office is. It doesn't have anything else about what they do. It's just a blank web page with this thing. So right now it's still up. That means somebody's paying for it. The domain name is still here. It's just existing, but no one knows what it does. And if you send a message, I'm betting you'll receive some kind of email about investment opportunity or something like that. I mean, I would assume it's something with real estate, since that's where he made his business. But, you know, I wasn't exactly satisfied with just looking at this. It's just a bare surface level information. So I went online and I looked at more stuff, and turns out Richard has taken it upon himself to advertise this website a little bit more. So he created a handle by the name of Inception Ventures, and he went on websites, especially Quora, or other real estate websites, or websites has to do with real estate, and he started answering questions and telling people about his experience. And from then is how I gathered his background story. So even though I told it to you guys, it might not be true, because the man himself, Rich, told it to us. It might just be some lies, but at least we get an idea of what his background is like. So this is about 5 years ago, this company that was set up. And then, of course, COVID hit. Now, remember, this company, I think it doesn't have any workers, any method of revenue, but it is a company. There's a website about it, and I'm sure he has the proper documentations. Now, COVID hit, a lot of businesses tanked, and the government had a bright idea. They said, oh, well, let's give everyone who needs some money, only if you're running a business, though. So a lot of failing small businesses got money, and the government was like, here you go, money for everybody. But the problem is, in the United States, there are just so many small companies, and the government was handing money hand over fist at such a vast speed that no amount of auditors in the world can exactly track where these money are going. So what ended up happening is that Richard here applied for a COVID relief fund, a loan from the government. And guess what? The government didn't look too much into it because they just didn't have the manpower, and they gave him the funds for this website. And he thought, okay, cool. I just got a lot of money for a company that's pretty much a shell. I wonder if I can do it again. Now, we don't exactly know how much he got with the first venture, but on the second time, the third time, we can say that he got more. Now, Richard is a very smart guy. He's a very seasoned scammer. Now, what he did was that he went online and he went to other sources and he found names of foreign exchange students, and he found the names of people who've died in recent years. And he forged documents with those guys, pretended that they were workers at some random companies, and under their name, he started applying for loans. Now, if you just do it once or twice, you might succeed. If you might do it 5 or 6 times, you're bound to succeed at least once or twice. But our guy Richard, now he didn't stop at 1 or 2. This guy applied for these loans 150 different times. So the amount of money he was trying to get was amazing. Now, authorities later found out that if he succeeded on all 150 applications, he would have gotten over $20 to $30 million. I mean, that is a couple lifetimes worth of work, and for a guy like me earning my current salary, probably a couple hundred lifetimes, I might be able to make that kind of money. But for this guy, he's got it all. In a short amount of time spent, a couple months, he successfully gained a couple $million. Now, obviously, not all of these applications went through. It's hard enough to get a loan as it is. So he ended up only getting about $1.5 million, $2 million. That's around roughly the range of what he got. So, after you scam the government, Uncle Sam has just got cheesed by you, what do you do? Now, I think the normal person, like you or I, would have said, well, let's lay low for a while. We've seen enough cop movies, robber movies, seen a lot of bank heist movies to know that what you need to do after getting that much money illegally is to not spend it and sit on it for a while. I remember in Bigfellas, Robert De Niro was a huge anal about that kind of thing. In fact, he killed a couple of guys just for buying some coats and buying a car. But this guy, apparently he didn't see any of those films, and apparently he could care less. Now, just like the story of Icarus who flew too close to the sun, our guy Rich over here, he spent all of the money. He starts spending all of it. And first of all, he spent enough money to buy 3 houses in California. In Southern California, which I'm not sure about Northern California real estate properties, but in Southern California, you need to spend at least $300,000 for anything resembling a house. Now, this guy bought 3 mansions at very nice cities. They were Tarzana, Glendale, and Palm Desert. Now, these places are all pretty posh, and you need to shell out a pretty penny for them. Now, on top of these houses, he also bought gold coins, diamonds, furniture, Rolexes, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, the whole shebang. Now, to the IRS, right, whenever you spend that much money in that short amount of time, especially when you don't have a justifiable source of income and everyone's being hit by the COVID, the pandemic, now they're gonna ask, how are you making this money? Is Uncle Sam getting everything he should? Is this illegal? So IRS came in and started investigating him. And of course they found out that, well, no, he didn't make all of these money legally, and in fact he has been embezzling some monies. So they took his butt to court and they started investigating, and they found out, yeah, indeed, he was a huge scammer. Now, as a result, the court took away all his stuff, including 3 houses he bought, all the jewelry, all the diamonds, all the gold coins, the Harley-Davidson, not the Harley-Davidson, and in June of 2020, they sent him, in June of 2021, they sentenced him to 17 years in prison. Now, the court didn't just touch him. It also got his wife, it also got his family, who apparently was also in this whole thing with him. In total, there were about 8 to 9 people who got arrested. And of those 8 to 9 people, everyone else except for Rich, they got about 5 to 6 years. Maximum 6 years. No one else got over 6. Rich, he got 17 years in prison. But, well, the good news for Rich, even though things aren't looking up for him right now, is that in America, if you're a rich offender, you get to be put under what's called a house arrest. So Rich and his wife got some ankle bracelets, and they were sat home for a while, and that was pretty okay. I think after stealing millions of dollars from Uncle Sam, that was probably the best treatment you could have gotten. But it wasn't enough for these guys. Now remember, they got kids at home, so they were taking care of these guys. But in August of 2021, just about 3 months ago, these couple decided, no, house arrest isn't good enough. I think this is too much of a punishment for stealing millions of dollars from Uncle Sam. So these husband and wife, they decided to snip off their ankle bracelet and abscond, and they just ran. They are now on the lam. But they abandoned their 3 kids. They didn't take the 3 kids with them. Now the 3 kids have someone taking care of them, the grandma watching over them. But imagine this, you're a 13-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, and your parents, after stealing money from Uncle Sam, just ran away. I mean, you must be pretty darn traumatized. But it's okay though, because these couple, after they ran away, left their kids a letter, and this should put them in the right place. Now the note said, "We will be together one day. This is not a goodbye, but a brief break from each other." That's pretty romantic. That's pretty poetic even. It looks like this guy's got a spot of romance for him. But this isn't Shawshank Redemption, and you just straight up abandoned your kids after stealing from the taxpayers and the hands of Uncle Sam. So even though you try to save it, I don't think you succeeded there, buddy. So because of this heinous crime, the FBI is still looking for them, and there is a bounty on their head, and the bounty is worth $20,000. Now remember, these guys aren't violent criminals, so you don't have to bring them in yourself. All you have to do is provide enough information to the FBI for them to capture it, and if your information leads directly to their capture, you get to take home $20,000. So good for you. Now let's see this guy's specs, right? Let's see what this guy sort of looks like, or we see what he looks like, but let's see his measurements, alright? So the guy is 5'10", he weighs 190 pounds, not bad. He's classified as white. He looks, I don't know, not too white to me. Maybe there's a little bit of Asian, maybe a little bit Hispanic mixed in there. But he's white, and he used to live in LA County. He also lived in Tarzana, which is where one of his ill-begotten manor resides, in Chino and also Northern Hills. Now, supposedly he might be driving his vehicle, which is a 2004 Camry. Now, I don't think this was his actual vehicle. He might have gotten from someone else. I mean, if you steal that much money, and I guess you bought Harley Davidsons, why not get yourself a nicer car than a 2004 Camry? Now, Camrys are awesome. Our family had a 2004 Camry, and it was great until somebody totaled it, but still, it's hardly a vehicle befitting someone who really just embezzles so much money from Uncle Sam. Or not embezzle, stolen. Now, the license plate to the 2004 Camry could be 5, J as in Jack, Y as in Yankee, K as in King, 335. Or it could be 7, Z as in Zebra, A as in Alpha, B as in Beta, 185. Everyone can play it back and just listen to the license plate numbers I said. If you see this vehicle, call the authorities, 911, or if you know anybody in the FBI, straight up call them, and hopefully you can get that $20,000. And if not, well, whatever. I mean, you didn't really spend that much time, but if you get $20,000, you want to share that with me, I wouldn't be too mad about it. But be careful, though. On the FBI posting, I did see that he did have a history of drug abuse. Now, it didn't say what drug abuse, and if he was smoking weed, then I guess it's okay. You don't even have to try too hard to catch this guy. You can probably just catch him in back alley, just smoking weed and just eating some chips or some other munchies. But if it was harder drugs like cocaine or maybe methamphetamine or one of those harder ones or crack, cocaine, yeah, maybe leave the guy alone. I think we as an internet population have seen enough videos of crackheads with super strength or meth heads with super strength. I remember watching this video where one crackhead was dragging 5 officers, and this guy was like skinny. He wasn't like a muscular guy. So I guess drugs give you superpowers. So, you know, if you see them, if you see their car, call the police, get your money. Otherwise, yeah, stay safe, leave them alone. But I thought, you know, I shared this story with you because it was kind of interesting. I mean, I knew during COVID times when the government was handing out money hand over fist, it's gonna be easy to steal some. But these guys actually had the cojones to steal it, and they stole so much that it is truly impressive. But I wouldn't advise anyone to follow their example. Stealing is bad, kids. So is doing drugs. Alright, it is late enough. Thanks everyone for listening to the stream, listening to the story. If you want to hear anything else or want to tell me any other cool stories for me to share with the people, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, or subscribe, and subscribe to this channel. Help us out a lot. Thanks so much. Have a good night.